You're such an asshole.
Hello, children. Cappy here, obviously not at any normal command, and I tried to set this up best I could so the audio quality is good. Obviously, I'm going to be looking down at my screen, but I took the time to put this together because Cappy had an epiphany, boys and girls. I had the straw that broke the camel's back. As you know, I no longer answer the question, how do I get the Gurlza? And I thought I could charge more for the help me Obi-Wan Cappy, you're my only hope questions, where basically young boys who don't want to put any effort into figuring out their own lives say, Aaron, here's my life, decide for me. Help me Obi-Wan Cappy, you're my only hope. I thought I could get by charging him like an egregious fee, 200, 250 bucks. And to be perfectly honest, I can't. It's not worth the mental taxation. The money, it's nice. But like, how do I get the Gurlza? I decided that I would put together a once and for all final universal answering video about help me Obi-Wan Cappy, you're my only hope. And I put a lot of effort into this, and as I wrote it, I realized it's a little bit more important than I first realized. And so that's why we have $100 minimum super chat. I actually am going to turn off my phone because this is about the time that everyone says, hey, I haven't talked to Cappy in a while. What's going on, man? Let's call them all now. So, and this is written. I will have this posted up my blog. I will also be uploading this to SoundCloud because I wanted to get out there. And if for some reason there is $100 super chat, like you guys are willing to pay that, please just wait till the end. I kind of really didn't want to deal with super chats, but well, $100 is $100, and I'm a okay. So the title of this is called "Advice for Weak Men." Allow me to regale you with a tale. Several years ago, I was receiving the same question from men about once a week. Sure, each individual man would word his question differently than others, but it all boiled down to the same question: how do I get the Gurlza? At first, I answered this question gleefully because I was getting paid because I'm a hooer. But after a while, these questions started grating on me and became so annoying, I had to ask myself why. Why were these questions becoming so annoying? In part, it was because I was answering the same damn question time and time again, with slight variances depending on the client and his individual circumstances. But regardless of the different flavors or variation of these questions, what I found particularly angered me was that all the men asking this question had one thing in common. They were cowards. They were weaklings. They didn't want to, as my colleague Rich Cooper would say, do the work. In other words, they didn't want to truly know how to get the Gurlza. They want to know, how do I get the Gurlza easily? How do I get the Gurlza without work? What are the individual actions in terms of grooming, income, speech, fashion, and other things that aren't hitting the gym that I can do that will result in getting me the Gurlza? In short, they wanted the shortcut to girls, the cheat code to girls, the algorithmic code to girls, so they could avoid the gym, dieting, working hard, and above all else, the courage it takes to face rejection and just magically poof, the Gurlza are ripping your clothes off. Once I found out that this was the real question and it was weak, cowardly, lazy men asking it, I did a universal video that answered this question on YouTube, scathing men for asking such a stupid question. I said there were no shortcuts. You needed to hit the gym and diet, and that they were pathetic, lazy losers, always in search of the easy way to success, of which there is none. And until they were committed to doing the work, they would never get the Gurlza. Henceforth, I have yet to receive one more question on how do I get the girls. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in a similar situation now because, like the question, how do I get the Gurlza? I am now getting similar questions that may not be identical, but they certainly rhyme and they're certainly starting to piss me off. And after sitting down and thinking it through, I have identified not only what the core question is these new men are asking, but these men also do not want a solution to their question unless it is cost-free, effort-free, labor-free, and risk-free. And that question is, can somebody else live my life for me? To understand the nature of this question, as well as the solution to it, we need to understand the background of the men who are asking me this question, as well as the millions of young American men who ask themselves this question every day. In short, the United States, as well as the West in general, is suffering a crisis of failed parenting. Boomer and Gen X parents simply did not prepare their children for the real world because parenting is hard. They opted instead the easier route of outsourcing their parenting to daycare providers, schools, politicians, teachers, and the media. Fathers, whether present in the family or not, divorced or not, nuclear or not, simply did not take the time to educate their children about the harsh realities of life and therefore did not prepare the children for the real world. And so, after shirking their duties to their children and letting the public schools install the philosophical life living operating system in the child's mind that is called socialism, feminism, victimhood, and entitlement, we have now released two woefully ill-prepared generations of children, Gen Z and millennials, into the real world, and the results have been disastrous. For example, I wrote the book How Not to Become a Millennial because we have an entire guinea pig generation as a testament as to what happens when your parents essentially lie to you, or at least don't tell you the truth. You have listless, purposeless adults who can't support themselves, living at home until they're 35, or certainly relying on their parents or government's financial support. We have generations of adults with completely worthless degrees, with life-crippling student debts that come with them. The mental health of this generation is also the worst in history, though measures show Gen Z is on track to beat the millennials in this endeavor. And of particular interest to both men and women of these generations is each other. As uncomfortable as this may sound, sex and family formation is the ultimate and final reason the human race is here, both of which are in rapid decline as we witness and experience a hate-filled war of the sexes, the ferocity of which the world has never seen. And though the above largely speaks to millennials, it is this environment that results in the empty, listless vessels we have as young men today. Men who have no point or purpose in life, men with no ambition or work ethic, men who have not a single line of adulthood coded into their operating system. And these men who once are dumped into the real world and forced to wander the desert for several years inevitably come to my doorstep and ask me, what should I do with my life? But keep in mind, it is not merely young, inexperienced men seeking the wisdom of an older brother figure. It's not some young kid who has done his research, worked some entry level jobs, kind of has some life goals set, but wants advice from a seasoned man on how to achieve them. No, it is once again that legion of weak men who, above all else, demand an easy solution above. An easy solution above actual. Let me read that again. I'm sorry about that. But keep in mind, it is not merely young, inexperienced men. This is not merely young, inexperienced men seeking the wisdom of an older brother figure. It's not some young kid who has done his research, worked some entry level jobs, kind of has his life goals set, but wants advice from a seasoned man on how to achieve them. No, it is once again that legion of weak men who, above all else, demand an easy solution above actual success in their lives. And after thinking this through, there are several traits that differentiate these weak men from their real young men counterparts, allowing you to spot them a mile away. First, they are young, typically in their mid-20s, and confused as the artificially cushy environment of school is no longer shielding them from the real world, and the promises of their teachers, parents, media, and politicians never materialize. Second, they have worthless degrees or educations, often partially completed, indicating a lack of work ethic, critical thinking, and the absence of a father who should have told them better. Third, they are physically unappealing and unattractive to women. They are overweight, fat, skinny fat, and do not exercise. They fear the gym more than anything else in life. Fourth, along with poor physical health, they invariably have some kind of mental illness, such as social anxiety disorder, ADHD, autism, or general depression. Fifth, their finances are poor. Sixth, related, they live at home or at minimum are financially dependent upon their parents or the government. Seventh, despite being a quarter century old and sometimes holding a college degree, they still don't know what they want to do in life, either for education or profession. Eighth, they then barf out a litany of potential professions they want me to personally research and analyze, none of which they've researched themselves. That's where I get particularly perturbed. Ninth, they also say, I want to start a business. And finally, despite being the epitomal definition of a loser who offers no value of anything to anyone, they laughably, 10th, tell me they're not really good with girls and ask how to get one. And so when I get a request from one of these weak men, I already know the question they are going to ask. They're going to ask me they are going to ask me to make all their life decisions for them. They're going to ask me to do the research, do the homework, and give their lazy NPC minds the instructions and cheat codes to life. what to study, what to become professionally, how to leave home, how to get out of debt, how to make friends, how to make six figs, how do I get the girls? But above all else, and this is key, as long as it takes no work or effort. And so, just like how do I get the Gurlza, I'm going to answer the general overarching question above. Can you live my life for me? Of which there are 8 main categories these questions fall into, requiring 8 main general answers or sub answers. Question number 1, what should I do for a living? Nobody but you is going to live your life. But if you insist on other people making your decisions for you because you're too weak and lazy to do it yourself, then you are foisting an unnecessary chore and burden on other people managing your life for them. And if you insist on having other people make your decisions for you, then you are effectively a slave, and your new owner has every right to the money or profit you generate, or at least a managerial fee. So if you need to be told what to major in, what to become as a profession, where to live, what to eat, and which hand to wipe your ass with, you are no longer a human. You are a slave. You are a robot, an NPC. And the person managing your life is owed compensation. But more pertaining to the specific question, what should I do for a living, even this question is moot, because if you're so lazy, you have to ask other people to do the research for you to find out what you actually should do for a living. It doesn't matter if your major is chemical engineering or brain surgery. You lack the work ethic to do anything, let alone real profession. So go sell cell phones at a mall kiosk. Be a cashier at a Quick Trip or Mavericks. No offense to Quick Trip or Mavericks. I like them. Collect some stimmy checks, do math, play video games, watch prawn, read Oprah, or fake having a mental illness so you can collect disability. You're simply incapable of being a professional at anything, so give up the endeavor. Question number 2, what type of business should I run? Akin to question number 1, if you can't figure out what kind of business to start, you lack both the work ethic and entrepreneurialism required to run a business. Furthermore, realize that in asking that question, it is the antithesis of being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs don't ask other people what to do, they lead and strike out on their own. What you're really asking is there a way I don't have to work for a living or work for a boss? Something easy, but where I can still make six figs? Of which the answer is no. Any token amount of time, effort, and resources you put into running, starting, or buying a business will be wasted, further worsening, if not crippling, your finances. So don't start drop shipping, bro. And no, you're not buying a dude. No, bro, you're not buying a bar, dude. I know you're not an entrepreneur if you're in some MLM scheme, multi-level marketing scheme. You are a loser, always looking to avoid work, and you will likely worsen your finances pursuing some profitless hobby. Question number 3, what should I study? Here I understand because your fathers weren't around, your mothers didn't know any better, and your teachers are truly stupid, why this question is a valid one. Young people are so propagandized to follow your heart and the money will follow, or any degree is a good degree, that you are practically channeled like cattle into the slaughterhouse of worthless liberal arts and social science degrees. But some of you are smart enough to know better. Many of you are considering STEM degrees or accounting or the trades or perhaps even the military. But these are not the weak male clients I am talking about. You guys actually have done some research about various degrees and come up to me asking, I'm kicking around mechanical engineering versus computer science. I'm really having trouble picking between the two. Any thoughts? And those are legitimate questions. The weak men who want others to lead their lives for them barf up scores of different degrees or training program options, wanting you to spend the days researching each option for them. And like having somebody else decide what your profession should be means you lack the work ethic to succeed in any profession, randomly barfing up a bunch of degrees and then asking somebody else which to major in proves you're not capable of majoring in any of them. Save yourself the money. You aren't smart enough or hardworking enough to go to college. Question number 4, how do I get out of debt? The short answer to this is this. You work 2 jobs and spend less than you make. Maybe you even have to move back home, but you gear up for at least 2 years of hell where all you do is work and save your money while cutting expenses to only the necessities. There, I've once again solved yet another economic problem that has plagued society since its existence. But once again, that solution is hard, and weak men who invariably have a car loan or lease they can't afford do not want to work 80 hours a week, let alone 40, let alone spend less than they make. And no matter how factual it is, working 2 jobs and spending less than you make is the only way to get out of debt. Every weak man will refuse that solution because it is not easy. That's all right. Enjoy being a part-time slave to the banks and credit card companies for the rest of your life because you are so deathly afraid of putting in the labor to pay back the money you took from other people. Question 5, how do I leave home? When I get this question, it's particularly funny because it's always invariably couched within my parents tell me what to do, who to date, give me a curfew, force me to go to college, but I'm 23 years old. I'm an adult. How do I get them to stop telling me what to do? And then I ask, well, are you living at home? Yeah. Well, then move out. But I can't afford rent. Well, then I guess you're your parents' bitch then, huh? Like, how do I get out of debt? The answer is the same for how do I move out of my parents' house? You work two jobs, you spend less than you make, you find a cheap place to live, and then you move out. Again, this solution falls on deaf ears on account it's not an easy solution, which is the first, foremost, and most vital part to any solution these weak men seek and demand. Question 6. I'm depressed / how do I make friends? Here, like college degrees, I can understand some of these questions are legitimate, in part because young men do face a depressing social environment, in part because your parents, teachers, and guidance counselors failed to give you reasons, goals, purpose, and meaning to live in life. Your peers are also mal-raised and maladapted to the real world. And Lord knows how many of you were put on prescription drugs to treat anxiety or depression when you were younger. So I do have a sympathetic ear to young men who are depressed or lacking a social life because your situation is depressing and your peers are depressing. But when I ask a client, do you go out? Are you joining any meetup groups? What hobbies do you have? How many girls did you ask out this week? And most importantly, do you work out? The answer is no. They sit at home, their social life is on social media, they have no hobbies that require the participation of others, and they're playing video games, watching prawn instead of getting in a daily hour at the gym or a run. No amount of working out, no amount of working out, socializing, and meetup groups will change the fact that the environment young people live in today is, in fact, tremendously depressing. But if you're not going to go out, find some hobbies, find some people, and work out to release the endorphins your mind and body are so desperately in need of, you will remain a Cheeto horking, video game playing, obese neat in your mother's basement, friendless and forever depressed. Question 7. How do I lose weight? How do you think? I love this question because it's like the human race has known since it's not like the human race hasn't known since its entire existence how food, calories, and exercise works. It's also the longest running tragic comedy in the US where women will try anything and everything except eating less and exercising more in an effort to lose weight, condemning now 3 generations of women to never losing weight but die trying. Regardless, we once again see the prime directive of these weak men and women. 60% of young people are overweight. Everybody would like to lose weight, but not if it's hard on account that violates, but not on account if it's hard because that violates the prime directive of it must be easy first, actual success is second. I simply refuse to give fat, weak men advice on how to lose weight. You know how, you're just asking for the easy way. If you really want to lose weight, then I suggest you implement the religion of communism young people are so fond of and watch the pounds fall off of everybody. And finally, question 8. How do I get the girls? I find this question hilarious. Here you have a weak man who is overweight, lives at home, has a worthless degree, is unemployed, is in debt, is mentally ill, whose social awkwardness frightens young women, and who is so lazy he needs another man to tell him what to major in or what to do in life. Yet this veritable loser, who is the complete antithesis to what women want, inevitably and always asks me, how do I get Da Gurlza? It's hilarious not because it's a weak man seeking the cheat code to girls. It's hilarious because these men think they are in some kind of social, physical, financial, or mental condition to date. They actually think they have value to women. When I am invariably asked this question after a litany of work avoiding questions, I have to laugh and say, "Are you kidding me? No, you are in no condition to present yourself to some poor girl today. You don't even know who you are, where you want to live, what you want to do. You live at home, you're in debt, you have no employable skills. Additionally, you are fat, weak, and ugly. You are not going to insult a woman, let alone bother her, by presenting your completely worthless self to her. Until you get the rest of your life together, until you become a real man who is in physical shape, do not even waste your time chasing girls." There are certainly other sub questions within the realm of Aaron, make my life choices for me, but there's a larger philosophical issue at hand, a question that every weak man in America and the West needs to ask himself. Regardless of your brainwashing, upbringing, indoctrination, or childhood, do you want to waste the rest of your life being the loser that you are? We can spend all day blaming teachers, parents, media, leftist politicians, mental illnesses, etc. for your pitiful place in life, but I do not think for one damn second all the weak men, as well weak women, do not know what the solutions are to their problems in life. Everybody knows that to lose weight, you need to eat less and exercise more. Everybody knows that to get out of debt, you need to work more and spend less. Everybody knows liberal arts degrees are a horrific waste of money compared to an engineering degree, and everybody knows that girls like tall men with big muscles no matter what they claim otherwise. The real issue is whether your desire to actually succeed in life and these endeavors is stronger than your fear of the work and toil required to succeed in them. And this is the most important decision you need to make now. And I'm not joking about that. This is the most important decision all of you weak men and women, but I'm targeting men obviously on this channel. You have to make this decision, because if your fear of work is stronger than your desire to succeed in life, then at least do yourself the favor of no longer torturing yourself and possibly desiring both. If your fear of exercise is more powerful than your desire to have sex with a beautiful woman, then admit that and stop trying to get the Gurlza. If you will save yourself an enormous amount of time, money, strife, and frustration. If your fear of working for a living is stronger than your desire to be financially independent, then unburden yourself with the chore of going to college or researching a profession. If your fear of having to support yourself is stronger than your desire to no longer live at home, then resign yourself to having your parents force a curfew on you at 27 years old. And if you fear the math and rigorous studying that goes into a STEM degree, invest the money that you would have spent pursuing a worthless degree instead into a house or the stock market. But if you actually do want to live life, if you actually do want to be successful in life, then get your head out of your ass and stop asking for the shortcuts and cheat codes of life that do not exist. Like millions of 40 plus something Americans today whose lives are effectively over, you will waste your one and only life chasing the false promises of diet pills, worthless college degrees, fat acceptance, careerism, socialism, radical yet sexy political ideology, entitlement, UBI, Oprah books, the opposite sex liking you for you, whatever other valueless propaganda slop society is serving you. Unless you're born into wealth, all success comes from hard work, labor, and toil. And if you wish not to piss away this one and finite life you have, this incredibly short blip of consciousness, of conscious existence God or the universe has given you, stop looking for the easy way, stop looking for the shortcut, get off your ass and go make your life worth something. Because until you do that, your life ultimately won't matter. And that's it. I have now answered all the Obi-Wan Cappy questions. I never have to answer it again. And I will point this out now. If I sent you this link, you came up to me with decide for me, Obi-Wan Cappy, you're my only hope, and I sent you this link to a pre-made answer, I'm charging you $100. You're not getting a refund. You're not, because that $100 might even be $150. Who knows? With Biden bucks, it might be $250 next week. But whatever I charged you, that is the best money you've ever spent, because obviously your parents, your teachers, your guys, society hasn't told you the truth. I'm saving your life, literally. Not ending, but you wasting. I'm saving you from wasting your life. And dude, I could charge $1,000 to send you this prescripted link, this prescripted answer. It'd still be worth it. Of course, you could just search for it. And search advice for weak men, you get it. Now, in the links down below, I want to post this on my blog. I'm going to put it on SoundCloud. I have links to different resources, right? And there's a fair amount. But if you are truly a weak man and you're sick and tired of living your life, like basically, I get most of the people come up to me, they're a third dead. Their lives are a third over. And you've wasted an inordinate amount of time consuming lies, propaganda, and believing your own lies, believing in your own laziness. But the question I want to pose to everyone here is like, do you want to live the remaining 2/3 of your life like the first third? Do you want to be as miserable and unsuccessful and unhappy as you are the first third of your life? Because your youth is 90% gone or 80% gone. Your life is a third gone. Do you want the remaining years of your life to be enjoyable on the planet? Well, here's a lot of resources, okay? And it's a lot. You know, there's I think I list about 10 books here. They're all mandatory. All of them. And before you say, that's a lot of work, how much time, money, and resources did you spend in college reading text? What did you spend on a textbook? $300? Yeah, there's not one book here that's even, I don't even think there's one book here that's 1/10 that price. And how much time and effort and energy did you spend in K through 12 not really learning anything? Right? So I don't want to hear any complaints. Well, that's a lot of reading. I'm not going to get to that. This is you've been consuming education. I would also say propaganda indoctrination since you were 5 years old. That's almost 20 years if you went to college, not to mention media, right? And you've had very bad results. The books and resources I'm about to list here take less than 1% of 1% of the time you spent in school, K through college, and are certainly a fraction of the cost. But even though they're less than 1% total time and money you will have invested in your education, that doesn't get you the girls or the jobs. This fraction of effort and time and money, these books will provide you infinitely. I don't mean 1,000 times. I mean infinitely better information about how to go live your life, what to do with your, how to get the Gurlza and all that. So we're going to go through them here. First are my books and resources. Why? Because I'm greedy. And yes, you're going to read them all or take them all. And not all these are books, by the way. The first one, Bachelor Pad Economics. That's the Financial Advice Bible for Men. Go get it. Don't read through it. Read the sections that apply to your life. It's organized in the table of contents. The second thing, I have a minimalism seminar. I've opened it up. I'm not going to keep it open forever. I really kind of don't like managing these things. I'm in the middle of other stuff, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of finances, because unless you got your finances together, you don't got anything together. You can't be chasing girls or majoring in education if you're $100,000 in debt because you got a spending issue. So that minimalism seminar, that is $499. And kind of like if I charged you $100 to send you this link, it's worth it because it puts things in perspective. You stop thinking, I got to go to the college. I need to get the Gurlza, so I buy myself a used sports car on a Lisa. And you're like, why am I poor? Why can't I afford food? I need a bailout. So there's that minimalism seminar there. It's the Clary School of Economic Philosophy. It's kind of a lengthy URL. Then there is Worthless, the young person's indispensable guide to choosing the right major. 80% of the problems of young people today would be gone, at least financially, if you didn't major in worthless crap. If you didn't major in dumb degrees that have no jobs attached to them, you'd at least 2 generations, millennials and the Zers, would be infinitely further ahead. Do you want to be better off than Gen X and the baby boomers, huh? Do you want to not be poor? How about we start with step number 1, not taking on $200,000 in student loans at the age of 21 for a degree that you can serve coffee with? Oh, like you could when you were 14? That one, it's a tragedy. That's not a bestseller. Poor Rich's Retirement, that is retirement for everyone, even if you're poor. It goes through and shows you why you don't need that much money to retire, but you do have to save for it. And it kind of gives you a long-term financial plan. There's some of that in Bachelor Pad Economics, but not to the detail and level or the philosophy of retirement planning in Poor Rich's Retirement. And then, as always, you can consult me at aholeconsulting.com. It's not spelled aholeconsulting.com. The link is down there. I'm just trying to make sure that this video gets shared and doesn't it's not necessarily to get monetized, though that would be nice. It's to make sure that it pops up on other people's feeds or scrolls. So yeah, then we have other people's books and resources. Also mandatory reading. Even Rich Cooper's book, whom I'm about to mention, even his book, if you can believe it, is mandatory reading. And so here they are. The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. If you don't know him, I suggest you develop a nice, close personal relationship with him through his YouTube channel. The Unplugged Alpha by Rich Cooper. All right. You can also find Rich Entrepreneurs in Cars, but his book, Unplugged Alpha, is probably his what's his only book, but I would say it's his epitomal work. You can consume it there. The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. I would say even read that before the other two I mentioned. And I would say to read that before you read my other books, but I'm greedy. So if you want, I'll be honest, you probably would want to read that book first before any of these other books. I think you want to read that. And then Pushing Rubber Downhill by Adam Piggott. That is the story of a boy to a man, where he goes through trials and tribulations. He goes through a passage, a rite of passage. How every man has to go through a rite of passage, and he chronicles the one he went through, which is way more exciting and interesting than anyone else's I've known. And those are 4 not my books that you need, not should, need to go and buy right now. They're all on Amazon.com. The links are down below. Then finally, the third group of resources is how do I get the Gurlza? Because that is the number one concern of men. And there's no shame in that because you're programmed to want that. There's the elements of that in the other books I've mentioned, but I'm not really a pickup artist type of guy or how do I get the girls? I mean, I got some basics down, but I'm going to give you the pros and the experts. First, I would say the foremost authority in the world, and I'm not kissing his behind. He's just that good. Is Troy Francis. He's got a. I wish he just had TroyFrancis.com or something. He doesn't, but you could search Troy Francis dating coach or whatever. The link he has there is linktr.ee/real Troy Francis. He has several books out there. He has a YouTube channel. But I would consume some of his material and then book a one-on-one with him if you want. Right? And that's the guy I'd recommend in all the world. Also, there is Modern Life Dating Strategies with Modern Life John. Him and I go back, and he still hasn't gotten his gift. I mailed it to him in Japan. You can go to his website, modernlifedating.com. He has, of many of these, all these guys do more than just one thing. But the one thing I'm going to recommend for Modern Life Dating, I think it's called the SALT Dating Strategy. John offers a class online about the basic introduction to dating and pursuing women. And I was shocked when I first talked to him. Like, I watched it. He's telling people, like, comb your hair, use deodorant, shower. I'm like, it can't be that bad. Like, who's going to, he's like, you have no idea. And if you are a weak man, you didn't have a dad, now it makes complete sense. Most of you boys were never told this. I mean, God, gosh, I look at what my mom told me. I'm like, that was so wrong. Not evil or malicious. It just could not be any further from the truth. And so if you know nothing and you want to start at the ground level, consider taking Modern Life Dating's John's class. You can find that at modernlifedating.com. Ryan Stone, here's another book on girls. Not necessarily how to get them, but the philosophy and psychology behind them and men and women and how they interact. It's called the Fook Files. It's not pronounced Fook, but it's Fucc Files. You could find that on Amazon.com. Then there's another book of mine I've left it here on how to get the girls. It's the Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI on the Pursuit of Women. There I go through the mathematical, I do an actuarial study, a cost-benefit analysis of all the time, money, and resources you're going to expend chasing the Gurlza and what your statistical chances of are getting a date, having some bedroom fun, marriage, and then being happily married. Oh, and by the way, getting divorced and losing half your assets. That is a very important book to read. It is also a must because it applies numbers and gives you an idea as to just what a Herculean endeavor you're going for. And then it also gives you, pulling from those numbers, derives some practical, effective strategies of what you should and should not do when you're going to pursue the Gurlza. First and foremost, we mentioned it before, if you're fat and living at home, don't waste your time. There's no reason. No Gurlza want you. Donovan Sharp, I provided his website down there below. He has a YouTube channel, and among many other things, he has a seminar coming up in Vegas, June 4th. It's short notice, but if you're interested, email me. I'll let you know. It's expensive. I won't lie. All these guys went through heck to get to where they are. They're going to charge for their wisdom and advice. And trust you me, it's worth. Hey guys, would you have spent $10,000 like on books and seminars and this and that? 10,000 might even be a little bit high, but let's say a couple grand. Would you spend a couple grand on, some seminars and books and then consultations and everything so your life wasn't as hellish as it was when you were in your teens and 20s every guy? Yeah, I would. I mean, not get stood up, to understand it's not you, I don't feel bad. I mean, oh my goodness. But take a look at his website, Donovan Sharp. It's Sharp with an E at the end, the British spelling. I already mentioned the Book of Numbers. Did I enter that wrong? I'll have to take that. I think I did that wrong. Then we also have Rule Zero. That is a YouTube channel. Oh, I put that in. All right, never mind. Put that in there. Rule Zero. That's it's a migrating YouTube episode or show. It's hosted on different people's YouTube channels. So each individual within the Rule Zero group hosts it. They talk shop, they talk girls, they talk strategy, they talk finance. I'm occasionally a guest over in that channel. But if you just search Rule Zero on YouTube, you'll find Rollo's got it, some episodes. Rich has some episodes. Ryan Stone has episodes. Troy Francis has episodes. There's some other gentlemen I haven't mentioned here around that. There's Sterling Cooper, John Fitch. He's more of an exercise guy. You might want to look him at johnfitch.net, and Paul Benjamin. I think that's all. I don't think I missed anybody else. And then finally, For the younger people, especially because there's online dating, an absolute must is the Fresh and Fit podcast, hosted by Myron Gaines and his co-host Fresh. Not they're good. God, they're good guys. They're just you can roll with the punches with them. But the work they are doing, and they're on the younger side, is good because it's all online. They interview women so you can see what they're like. Just watch a couple of their episodes. Go over there. But they are absolutely a must. I'm not saying you gotta consume every video they've ever done, but watch their work. Realize they're on the ground floor. They're at the front lines of this, and they're collecting data. They're highlighting women, female behavior, what they want, what they don't want, what they say versus what they mean. And then also, especially with everything being online, they're masters at social media. So nowadays it's Instagram, and I don't go online. I don't do online dating because it just sounds hellish. But they're the experts at it, and since most young people are meeting online, you have to know online dating strategies, and Fresh and Fit have that. And that's it. I'm gonna have to double check, make sure those links are correct before I post them. I have to edit them. All right, now let's go to the super chat, see if there's any super. Oh, the Norwegian Kroners. Oh, is that Eric? Is that Eric? Eric? Oh, you Norwegian. Oh my goodness. I bet you it is. I bet you it is. But okay, now we'll go. Okay, we'll go to the super chats now. This isn't $100. Professor Paul's Labs, $20 on campus. I would sell custom tech example, a USB stick. They had a program I made that would sniff the college website directories for the teacher's employee details, then use that to search public records where they live. Oh, well, why would you do that? I've never once wanted to know where my teachers lived. I hated them so much I didn't want to see them. Nonstop Dre. Did you read the $100 minimum, Dre? $2. Aaron Clary, America's Stepdad Saving Broken Men. I will never be a stepdad. Nope. Nope. By the way, I got another website, olderbrother.com. And I have a podcast too. You could go through my YouTube channel. I got SoundCloud. I didn't mention it because it wasn't specifically germane. But yeah, there's a website called olderbrother.com. And then I have an Older Brother channel. Subscribe to this channel and subscribe to the Older Brother channel. Sam Whiskey, $5. Cappy, what are your thoughts on day trading? I think it's a waste of time unless you got some really good computers, fast computers, and you know what you're doing. Otherwise, index investing. Most day traders lose money, by the way. Dude, bro, I made a lot of money. I made 300%. Yeah, but tomorrow you're going to lose 350%. Sam Whiskey, $2. Tell us about your snake encounter while hiking. Do you really want to hear the snake encounter? All right. Maiden Rock, Wisconsin. It's in the Mississippi Valley. There's Minnesota on one side, Wisconsin on the other side. Mississippi has drained through the millions of years. It makes a big cliff, very dramatic cliff dropping valley. And so I was going to scale Maiden Rock, which is, I don't know, 200-300 feet. And it's not like a sheer cliff because they're bluffs. And so there's crevasses you can make your way up. I didn't get up more than 6 feet until I pulled myself up. Timber rattler snake right there. And I'm like literally not James Bond, the Indiana Jones experience. And it was big. I didn't know rattlesnakes were that far north. I thought they were, down south, Mississippi or something, or the desert, obviously. Oh no, they're up in that. I guess the valley keeps it warm enough for them. And they're big, which typically means less poisonous, but I still didn't want to get bit in the face by one. And then I decided not to climb Maiden Rock. So I got a picture of it. You could look it up, I think, on my blog, Captain Capitalism, Cappy Snake Adventure, or Snake Mountain. I got a picture of it. It's not clear, but you could definitely see the scales. Oh, they were big. Oh, this isn't Eric. By the spirits. See, now what he's doing here, 1,000 Norwegian kroners. I think it's like 5. Wait, what is the exchange rate? That might actually be $100. NOK to USD. That is $100. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you very much. Oh, that's very nice. Unlike all you other frauds. Dre, $100 minimum. Dre, $2. There is actually another $100. Oh, geez, Alex, you didn't have to do this, man. You donate enough. You don't have. This is Pokeball and Four Roses bourbon on me. Not a good combination, but get it. Four Roses. Alex, just look. For every dollar you throw in my super chats, please tell me you're throwing some money into your kids' college fund. That's all I'm saying. Got that. Scrolling. I think that's all. Is that it? I think that's it. There you go. All right. You know any weak men? You know any losers? You know any how do I get the girls out? I got a client who's like, I helped my nephew out. I'm like, well, here's a video I could send to him. If you know anyone that needs a swift kick in the rear, send it to him. And by gosh, please go get all those books down below. And that's it. We'll see you guys. Oh, and if you had questions, always contact me at aholeconsulting.com. And we'll see you kids later. Toodles.